Hey everybody, it's Stu Smith and Jeff Nichols with Tactical Fitness Report, and today we're going to talk about, real quick, recruiter problems, number 5. And this one is the age waiver. Now, I don't know about you, Jeff, but I get a lot of emails through the years from people who, are borderline, might need an age waiver, 27, 28, 29, to guys that are in their 30s.
Yep.
And in fact, I just seen one recently that was a 31-year-old age waiver, which is pretty rare. I mean, and didn't you say you had a guy that was 36?
Yep.
Now, was he prior?
When he graduated, he was prior. He was a corpsman. He was a Navy corpsman. And what a good dude. And we had another guy that was 32. He was a dive instructor,
right?
Like a Maui dive instructor. But I probably. Again, I was assuming that they had to get waivers before, but there wasn't such a surge for guys to get the bud. So I think then it may have been a bit easier.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, in the last 10 years, since they've had the mentor program and all of that, it is a lot more difficult, and it pretty much goes up to the highest levels of, Navy Recruiting Command. Yeah. And even buds. I mean, a lot of COs won't take age waivers unless they sign off on them.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of things. One, persistence.
Yeah.
And I was asking this guy that was 31 today, how many times he heard no, and he laughed. He said probably about 100. But he basically what he did is, his first 5 recruiters that he went to said no. You can't do it. And so he just quit bothering with them and went to someone else till he found a guy that's willing to work with him. And then he said, here's what you got to do it. And what he had to do is crush the PST, surprise, right? And he really did. He
step one right there.
Yeah, crush PST. I mean, he really did. He had like an 8-minute swim. He could do sub 8, but I think he swam it in a 50-meter pool or something. So 8-minute swim, a sub 9 run, 110 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 27 pull-ups. I mean, those are great scores no matter what age you are. So, but he did that. He also could speak a foreign language. Couldn't remember which one. But anyway, so he had a foreign language background, college educated, wanting to enlist. Let's see, what else did he do? Letters of recommendation.
Yeah.
He had to find guys that would vouch for him and write letters of recommendation for him, whether they were active duty SEALs, former SEALs, and he also did have a vice admiral that wasn't a SEAL, but that can never hurt either. So, So he did all his research and took interviews, and it took him a couple of years to get through that process, and but he did it, and he heads to buds this year sometime. So
yeah, I think that's the big thing is that I still try to understand exactly why the military or NSW specifically doesn't want the 30-somethings in there. Part of me says, well, it's because the Navy is like, well, from a healthcare standpoint, there's going to have more long-term sort of disability. I don't know. I really don't understand, because I would stake my reputation on the fact that a 22, 23, 25-year-old bud student mathematically is successfully navigating buds at a higher percentage than someone that's 18, 19.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
They've got to have a reason. I have not seen anywhere where they've advertised that reason. It's probably a decent reason, but I'm just still curious as to why, just to help you guys navigate. But it is a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, but anyway, I guess the biggest thing here, this really isn't a recruiter problem. It's just a situation that you just have to find the right recruiter that is going to be willing to work with you, and depending on your age and what you want to do, it's got to go up a certain chain of command, and that recruiter is going to have to want to do that.
Yeah,
it's going to be more work for him. So you got to put in the work. He's got to put in the work. And it was funny because the guy that got it, when he found out, the whole, recruiting station was jumping up and down, and they went and had drinks afterwards. I mean, so they were pretty excited for him because they had never seen one. So that's how rare they are.
So and Stu said it a couple times. I would say this, it's very likely he would have never gotten the chance, even after all of that time with persistence and all these letters of recommendation, all these things. It still would have never happened probably. It's likely that it wouldn't have happened probably if the number one thing he didn't do first was crush the PST.
Absolutely.
So you can't go in. My strong suggestion is don't go in at 30 and go, I want to start the process. And you have no base of training, and they're looking and go, really, man? Like, this is a 2-year process or whatever. Just if you're 29 years old and that's what your heart is telling you to do, you better get your ass into a training program and crush that PST before you ever even walk. I mean, you should be so confident in your PST numbers at that age. You walk in a recruiter and go, I will take the PST tomorrow morning.
Yep. Crush it. Ready to go.
Yep. Yeah. Take an official PST the moment you walk into that recruiter's office, and you got to be serious about it because they will not, even probably for me. And that's the thing is like, that's like on the training side too. If someone comes to see Stu, right, shows up completely seems to be completely uninterested. And what I mean is shows up unprepared. Someone that shows up unprepared to me seems uninterested. So if someone shows up very unprepared to train with Stu or myself, like, it's not to say we don't want to train people to get them prepared, but there is a certain level of, hey man, I've been wanting to do this for a while, because we always get that. No one ever says, oh man, yesterday morning I woke up and I just knew I had to be a SEAL. Everyone's like, oh, I've been wanting to do this for years.
Right.
Okay. Well, what the F have you been doing the last couple of years?
Yeah.
So show the recruiters that you are serious about it. And the first way to show them you're serious about it is walk in there with a resume, performance resume, and
the ability.
Yep.
Ability to do it on the dime. You never know. Your mentor may be in there right there, and he goes, let's see. You can join us right now. Let's do it.
Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is.
And then you crush it, that recruiter may work for you a little harder.
Yeah, because that actually happened, almost kind of happened to me. So when I was when I started my process for OCS, I was in Alabama. We were close to Panama City, where the dive school is, right? And that's where the closest SEALs were. And it was before the mentor phase. And when my package made it through OCS and it got down there, and they're like, oh, well, this guy's got to do a PST. So the recruiter that was in Montgomery, Alabama, sent me. He actually went with me down there. And they, like, a week ahead of time, they're like, yeah, come down here with boots and pants, cami pants and boots. And I was like, I had to go to the Army ROTC at Troy University and go, hey, I've got to do a physical training test or whatever. Can I borrow someone's boots and pants and brown T-shirt? And I did. A week later, I went down there, and so they were like, all right, dude, you ready? You said you want to do this. The package is through. Let's see if you've been training. And I had been training already for, 9-10 months.
Yeah, nice.
Blew up the PST, and they're like, oh, this guy's actually, because it was funny because they were sitting there, no kidding, like the SEAL chief was sitting there right before the run, just looked at his coffee. It was a cold morning, even for Florida standards. And he's just like, couldn't be more uninterested.
Yeah.
And I took off running, and he was like, I got back, and he just looked at me. He's like, holy shit, dude, you're serious. I'm like, yeah, I am. I can drive my ass all the way down here to not be serious.
You know what, though? That just shows you how many people aren't serious that they see.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And it's all, and it's a shame that it is refreshing to see somebody serious.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I mean, too. And I know I've said this, and Stu said this a million times, for the cadre in observation at Buds, they know right away, oh, that guy doesn't have a chance. That guy right there is going to make it through Buds. And until you've been through Buds, you don't have that, right? If Stu and I, again, I know Stu, when they do the academy stuff, or the times that I've spent around Buds compound after selection, you can just see it. I don't know what it is about it. You can just, body language speaks volume. So a SEAL recruiter is going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
And you'll have that if you're ready, right? You will.
Yep. Yep.
So
there you go. Now I will say this one last thing on the recruiter thing. You know, they are few and far between. You really need to be a rock star, you know, to get one of these age waivers. And timing of the year may be an issue. You know, if it's at the end of the fiscal year, they may not have money to, you know, for more applicants to go to buds or something. You know, things like this happen all the time. At the beginning of a fiscal year, they say, oh, yeah, we're ready to roll now. So, you know, it may be easier that way. You know, it may be a seasonal thing like that you might have a better chance.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's maybe, you know, there's no perfect time to join.
No.
But if it, okay, so I can just say this as a last piece on that. If it's the same then timing as it is now, then when I came in as the now, the October 1st is the fiscal beginning. Well, I know it still is the military. October 1st is always going to be the fiscal year.
Yeah.
The military and government. That for me, from what I remember being told, the October 1st boot camp start, because there's usually boot camps to start then, are the smallest classes. Now, I don't know if that's still the case, but or why necessarily, but I think that probably is because that comes off the heels of the holidays or whatever. And also leading up to those the government shutdown, but
yeah,
your recruiter may be able to answer that. You can't this is what Stu and I was talking about the other day, is like, there's a way to kind of game it a little bit, but it's not the easy way.
Right. There's no easy way to get an age waiver.
But trying to go in there and ask those particular questions is not off the radar.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, if you go in there and somebody says no, says, look, I'm really serious about this, we reconsider, you hear no again, go to the next guy. The last thing you want to do is ask the same guy 100 times, you know, to do this. You just got to find somebody else. I think that was probably the best advice that I've heard, you know, over the years, when people who, you know, were in their 30s or late 20s who tried to go to buds. So good luck with the age waiver.
If any of you have experienced a successful completion, give us your region.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would like just to have an idea. We're pretty sure it's not South Florida, but there are regions, for whatever reason, maybe again, it's population density. They're not seeing a lot of buds candidates come through there. So now they have some leeway to get these waivers, or the recruiters themselves, you know, they're not in a metropolis city.
Yeah.
So like, we got to get everybody we can.
Right.
They got to meet their quota, so to speak. So they're really going to push for a 30-year-old who's capable, that, you know, from what they can understand to get buds. That's just another number from the recruiting station.
Yeah.
So it may, if you're from a small town and you're going to a small recruiting depot, there you might have a better chance, or you might not. You don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And let's face it, a recruiter does not look at a recruit who comes in there saying they want to go to buds as a buds graduate. A recruiter will look at that guy as a buds failure and somebody who's taken a ship billet in the Navy.
Yeah, they're going to shift you. Yeah, so
again, that's the way it works. You know, statistically speaking.
That's how. Yep, you're right, because
you're making guys for ships.
That's a lot of people that get earmarked for positions that they know are going to show up for those A schools. Yeah. Right. That's a lot. So you figure, of the couple thousand people, maybe not a couple thousand, so maybe the 800 people that try go through buds, you know, 85% of those are going to end up in the fleet. That's a lot of people. Yeah. So they're going to take care of themselves too, as they should. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways.
So be prepared. Once again. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Talk soon.
We'll see you.